Jays are at the top of most offensive categories, or a lot of offensive categories, but it doesn't feel like it. We were talking about Bo Bichette. Bo's not having a great year, but you know what? He's not the worst player in baseball this year. In point of fact, he's in the top 10 in hits, and hits still matter. Yes, he's got all those plate appearances, but hits still matter. It really is the damnedest thing, though, isn't it? Like, you look at this team, where they are, and then you look at a series like, this series, where whatever they were with, what were they, 1 for 19 runners in scoring position, 27 left on base, and it doesn't add up. The bullpen's been good. The starting pitching's been good. It doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up.
No, the two things that people on other teams say to me whenever the Blue Jays play a series against them is, would I love Alek Manoah as much as I think I would love Alek Manoah if I knew him? And that's the first thing everybody says. And I say, absolutely, 110% you would. And the second thing they say is, why is this team battling for a wild card spot? Why aren't they, 4, 5, 6, 7 games ahead? And you're right, there's something that doesn't add up. They have been a very good offensive team. I don't know what they are in runs per game, but it's like fifth or something. In OPS or OPS plus or slugging or on base or weighted runs created, but whatever you want to say, they're third, they're fourth, they're fifth. It does feel, and I agree with Buck, it hasn't felt like the same kind of offensive juggernaut they had last year. Now, two little asterisks here. You take away 45 games in Dunedin and Buffalo, the numbers are going to come back a little bit, obviously. And baseball as a whole is down 4, 5, 6%, so you scale back the numbers again. Right. So maybe you're scaling back the numbers 10%, and you're still just as good. But I agree with Buck. It doesn't feel like it. It's funny. I do a lot of digging on this stuff. Do they chase? It feels like they chase a ton. Do they chase more than other teams? No, they chase a below average amount. Do they strike out a lot? No, not even close. They are like, last I looked, which was a few days ago, their strikeout percentage is like fourth best in baseball. I think part of this is perception. And to Buck's point, it doesn't feel like it. I think part of this is just perception that this group should go out there and score 12 runs every game. And obviously, baseball is harder than that. All of that having been said, I do think that there are times where, it is a little bit frustrating. The double plays, the not getting the runner in from third with less than 2 out, that sort of thing. Adjustments that need to be made every now and again in key spots in a game. That's where I think they can take it up a notch, is that little moment, which is not a little moment, that moment here or there where as much as it's not the way baseball's played right now, you just got to get that guy over, or you just got to get that guy in. Every now and again, it's got to happen. And again, they're better than people think they are. I know people are down on the offense, and I understand it, but if you look at all the numbers, they've still been an awfully good offense.
Ross Stripling yesterday, I know he gave up a couple of home runs. I think that's the first time he's given up multiple home runs as a starter since July 19th, 2021. At some point, they really have to look at signing this guy, don't they?
Oh, 100%. And maybe they've had talks behind the scenes, right? Like, so Ross has not been a free agent yet. And, by baseball standards, he's made some decent money, but he's not, he doesn't have a swimming pool full of money in his backyard or anything like that. He's about to become a free agent for the first time. And Kevin, this, that is something the player earns and has every right to earn. Sure. Like that is a credit to the player that, hey, you got through 6 years in the major leagues and now you get to choose where you want to play within reason, obviously. So, I don't know if they have talked to him about it. I would love for them to bring him back and 2-year deal, whatever you want, not a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal or something like that. Because whether you publicly or privately say you're the 4, you're the 5, you're the 6, like he's going to get his opportunities. We all know that's the way baseball works. Guys get hurt. And what he has done this year, if they didn't have him, they'd be, I don't want to overstate this, but they're a game and a half ahead of Baltimore. They'd be looking up at Baltimore without Ross Stripling, and not by half a game. They'd be in some trouble right now with Ross Stripling. The fact that he can come in, you talk about the roller coaster and the ups and downs. He's the opposite of that. He's the steady hand. He's the stabilizer. He's the low maintenance 5 or 6 innings. He gave up 2 home runs last night. It's the first time that's happened all year.
Yeah.
He gave up 3 runs last night in 6 innings. And it's like, boy, Ross was, not a typical, that's how good he's been, like 3 runs in 6 innings. And he was still good enough to win a ball game last night. I would love, love, love to see them bring him back. I would also love to wake up tomorrow morning, look at my phone, and see that Alek Manoah has been signed to a 5-year deal to take him right up to free agency or something like that. Though, like if you want to talk about guys who care and guys who compete, those are two of those guys, and I would love to see them bring Stripling back. But at the same time, he's got the right to say, you know what, let me try this free agency thing out. I've never done this before, so it takes two to tango, right?
You give him a qualifying offer, do you?
That's a very interesting question.
That's $19 million, I think, right?
It's 18 or 19 million. I'd rather give him a 2-year deal, like for less per year, but more overall. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd rather get him for 2 years. I think the qualifying offer for him is a fascinating conversation. I'd rather avoid the whole thing and make him a 2-year offer he can't refuse. But I think Ross is 32, something like that again. And you know, he's never been a 180-inning guy in the majors. He's always been this Ross Stripling, bouncing back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen. He's likely to have a career high in innings this year because he's been in the rotation absolutely all the time. So, you know, again, he's half of this conversation. Where he lives, does he, you know, how important is a winning team? Does his family love Toronto? The money, these are all things. So, but I'd love for them just to make him an offer that he can't refuse.